Okay, I think I'm live on Facebook and YouTube. Hello, everyone, if you're there. Let me get the energy in the area cleansed, and we're going to jump right into it. Let's see. Y'all come in if you hear. Say hello. This is actually my first live on YouTube. Okay, so definitely I'm excited. And anyone coming through, if you're not subscribed to the channel, do so. It's going to be a lot of mystical fun stuff that I will be doing. But nonetheless, let's get this energy right. Okay. Okay, I am going to kind of, after I get everything kind of energy cleansed up, protect myself with this crazy energy, then I'll get my software up and everything, and we'll get going. Okay, whoever come in, you come in, you can just acknowledge yourselves. I want to definitely greet all of my audiences. We are here to talk about this, talk about a few things, but most importantly, the new moon in Capricorn, right before we go into Aquarius season, endings, okay? We're going to talk about some other aspects, too, that are kind of in play as well. Okay, I got that, got that, got that. Okay. Okay, so let me get into it here. Where's my software? Okay. Okay. So, welcome everyone. Okay, this is my league from my league's Mystical Magic. For those who do not know me, if you're just running across my page on YouTube, follow me. Okay, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Definitely am building. Okay, so I would love to have you on this page here, this channel, Facebook. Hello. Okay, I will not shy you either. I will be actually going simultaneously between live Facebook and YouTube. Nonetheless, my name is Malik, as I mentioned. I am the founder of Malik's Mystical Magic and Intuitive Consultations, and I'm a professional astrologer here. Okay, so tonight I will be discussing astrology, but I am also a numerologist, an intuitive practitioner, a tarot reader. Okay, so I work with technology as my technical system, numerology as my mathematical language, and divination as some symbolic confirmation. Okay. It is not for entertainment purposes. It is really for life guidance, okay? So, in addition to that, if you're new here, you can connect with me through all of my platforms, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and I think I'm on Threads. Malik's Mystical Magic, all K's, okay? Let's see, the lighting here is a little crazy. Let's see if I can change that. I don't know. I'm not gonna mess with anything. It's a slow connection here, but I should be good over here. Anyway, hey. Okay, so anyway, if you're new here, like I said, follow, subscribe, follow, hit the notification bell for YouTube. Okay. Also, I'll continue to go on live on Facebook and upload, some of these things to my TikTok and my Instagram page. Okay, but basically. If you are a returning client of mine or a seasoned astrologer yourself, then you already know my work is about precision, patterns, and preparation, okay? Hey, Veronica, baby, how you doing? So today's presentation is not a casual new moon check-in. This is a structural briefing, okay? So in this lunation, or in this presentation, I would say, we're going to discuss the Capricorn new moon, why this lunation matters in the larger timeline. What is it asking of us collectively, okay? And how it also is going to tie into numerology, the eclipses, which we are in the energy of the eclipses. The first one is going to be solar eclipse in Aquarius. So we're going to talk about that. And they come in tandem. So I'll talk about the other end of that eclipse. And then we'll do a few historical cycles to kind of pull it into context for us. And then we'll kind of look at how to properly prepare, before we even get into the individual rising signs. Finalize with the rising signs with the closing and an affirmation, and that'll send us on our way. So I'm really here to just strictly do business. I've been working on this for over a week, okay? This is a very important lunation for me because my North Node is in Capricorn. So it's important that I pivot and get on my life path. I'm already on it, but make sure I'm solidified and secure in it, okay? And so we're also going to talk about basically everything that I'm going to discuss right now is going to be about the collective first, okay? How it's going to impact us collectively. And then I'll provide us with some personal interpretation as we go on, okay? My goal is really not to hype anyone, it's just for understanding so that when we move into the rising signs, you already know where to look in your chart if you are, chart savvy. What degrees matter when we're looking at degrees and what themes are active, okay? And also what decisions are being asked of us, you individually, okay? So we're going to slow this down and move step by step and kind of build this correctly, Capricorn style, okay? So let's start with the foundation, the new moon itself, as that is going to be coming into effect here in 2 days. Oh, yeah, 2 days. So basically, a new moon represents a reset, okay? It's a meeting point between the sun and the moon, consciousness and emotion, beginning a new lunar cycle, okay? And so this moon is occurring in Capricorn, and that is ruled by the sun, the planet of Saturn, okay? And Saturn does not deal with wishes. Saturn deals in results, responsibility, and reality. So when we're working with a Capricorn new moon, we are not talking about quick manifestations. We are literally talking about structure, discipline, okay, accountability, and kind of long-term outcomes, okay? So we really kind of got to be mindful of the Capricorn energy, or the energy in which that lunation occurs in, okay? So Capricorn energy asks really one central question: what can actually be sustained? Okay, so this new moon is asking us collectively to take a hard look at areas of our commitments, our responsibilities, our boundaries, and the systems that we are operating within. Okay, where have we been overextending? Where have we been carrying weight out of obligation, and where have we been holding things together that no longer have a solid, foundation? Okay, because Capricorn is about maturity, not age, maturity. It is asking us also to choose stability over chaos, longevity over shortcuts, and self-respect over approval. So this is a new moon that's about containment, okay? Containing your energy, containing your resources, and containing your focus, okay? And so because that is important, because we're preparing for the next moves faster, okay? And Capricorn's role is to kind of make sure that when momentum increases, you don't collapse under it. We have just entered a new year, 2026. In Chinese astrology, it's about fire horse, and I'll get into that. And in the universal numerical language, the year equates to a 1. Aries, momentum, the start. Let's go, okay? So we definitely need to kind of look at that. So now that we kind of have a good idea of what this new moon is representing conceptually, I think the next step is to go ahead and get specific, because in astrology and numerology, degrees matter, and that's where we're kind of gonna look at here. And so when we look at the degree and where this new moon is landing and how to kind of track it, we know that, this new moon, is about, sustainability. We need to get specific, because in astrology, degrees are everything, okay? And I want to do a class on degrees, but a new Capricorn moon is exact at 28 degrees and some minutes, okay? And definitely numerically and astrologically, that matters. And you guys know we've talked about those 28, 29 degrees. And when we work with charts, we don't, just say Capricorn. We say which degree of Capricorn, because degrees tell us where pressure is concentrated, who is most affected, okay? Not only that, is how close we are to the turning point, okay? In addition, this new moon is occurring in the late degrees of Capricorn, which means that we are dealing with some culminating energy. Not any initiation energy, okay? Because late degrees represent completion, okay? It represents testing. It also represents readiness to move into the next sign, right? We're going to getting ready to go into Aquarius, and also final decisions. So this is not exploratory energy. This is threshold energy, okay? Hey, cuz, how you doing? And then when we look at the degree range of the activation, because I think that's important. Okay, let me see if I can bring this down some. Sorry. Girl, I'm on YouTube live, okay? Finally, been waiting on my 50 subscribers so I can go live, and I think I'm a little bit over 50, so thank y'all. Okay, and so invite your friends, your family, okay? But nonetheless, I want to make sure this is not too close. Okay. Anyway, Monday, what's up, girl? Okay, so anyway, we're looking at the degree range. Let me get into it because I got to stay focused, okay? When a lunation happens at a late degree, such as 28 degrees in some minutes, we don't look at one exact number. We look at the degree range. For this new moon, that range is going to be between 26 to 30 degrees, okay? A house is 30 degrees. So we are at the end. This new moon is going to be exact at the end of Capricorn season before it steps into the house of Aquarius, okay? In addition to that, we are at the doorway between signs, Also, we look at 0 to 2 degrees of Aquarius, that whole entire area, okay? Now, hey, y'all, I don't know if I can take stars over here, or what you call them, girl. Okay, let me get my YouTube stuff together. I don't know what I could take over here, but I know I could take some stars over here. Y'all send your girl some stars if you feel compelled to, okay? But anyway, let's keep going. So if you have any planets, angles, or points in your natal chart within late Capricorn degrees, 26 to 30, okay, or early Aquarius 0 to 2, this new moon is directly activating those placements. And this is how you know if something is personal or purely collective. Because not everyone is going to feel this as much as others. Now, why this late degree, I say late Capricorn, is going to be different, because Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, okay? And so Saturn governs time, consequences, karma, accountability. And when we are in late Capricorn degrees, Saturn energy is fully matured, okay? And that means excuses stop working, shortcuts stop working, avoidance stop working, okay? Late Capricorn asks you, have you learned the lesson, or do you need to repeat the cycle? Simple as that, okay? Saturn is not going to play with you. Big Daddy Saturn is not going to play with you, okay? Now, this new moon here is not gentle, and this is not about weak structures. It's kind of similar to that. Every damn lunation lately have been surgical, okay? And this one is such of that, surgical. So let's dip off into the numerical weight of the 28, without the symbolism yet. From a numerological perspective, that number 28 itself kind of masters and a vibration of relationship, because it's 2. okay? And then power, authority, material, reality with 8, okay? When you add the 2 plus 8, that equates to 10, okay? You take away that 0, what do we have? We back at 1. So when I say these things work, as above, so below, the numbers, the planets, the energy, all of that aligns. So 28 is a number that kind of brings initiation through responsibility. Initiation, Aries energy, through responsibility, Capricorn energy, okay? So you don't get the number 1 without handling the number 2 and the number 8 correctly. So that means leadership through maturity, okay? New beginnings earned through accountability. Power that comes from knowing when to hold and when to release, okay? Now, I think that's important. So why this section matters before I show you the symbolism, this is why we start with this degree before symbolism, because this degree tells us where this is happening in our chart, who it affects, and how close we are to a shift. And once we understand that this new moon is happening at the end of Capricorn, right before Aquarius, then, okay, and only then do we interpret the Sabian symbol, okay, because the symbol explains what this degree is asking of us, not where it is, okay? And so now that we kind of looked at the degree, because the degree is serious, the number, the range, and the pressure point, we can interpret the meaning, of this degree. So let's look at the Sabian symbol, okay? Because the Sabian symbol, 29 degrees of Capricorn. So when we at 28 degrees, or where this lunation will be exact, we always go up when we're looking at Sabian symbols. So we're looking at 29 degrees Sabian symbol. And I'm sorry, y'all, my eyes are red because I got some conditioner in my eyes, okay? So they red over here. I can't see too much over there. Just want y'all to let y'all know, okay? It is something got in my eyes, okay? Now, 29 degrees Capricorn Sabian symbol is a woman reading tea leaves, okay? And I actually, I did. I printed the image. Okay, now y'all, I'm starting out new on YouTube. It's gonna take me a minute to get my systems up and running so I can switch and switch and switch. This is the Sabian symbol image. Okay, so y'all see her? A woman reading tea leaves. Y'all can see that? Okay, a woman reading tea leaves. Okay, so now that we kind of understand the degree itself, let's look at what's going on with this 29 degrees and some minutes of Capricorn. Okay, so a part of this is important to get right, because in Sabian astrology, we don't read the symbol of the exact mathematical degree. We kind of round up to the next whole degree. So this 28 something turns into 29 degrees of Capricorn, and 29 degrees of Capricorn in the Sabian symbol is that woman, reading the tea leaves, okay? And so what this symbol means technically, this symbol represents right here the ability to perceive hidden meaning in patterns, okay? Tea leaves are not random. They are residue. What's left behind after the experience, right? When you make your tea, it's not the bag itself or the leaves itself, okay, that you keep. It's the essence from that, right? So, are you noticing the signs life has already shown you? Are you paying attention to what keeps repeating, okay? Because this symbol is not about fantasy or superstition. It's about interpretation, okay? Tea leaves are not random. They are residue. What's left behind after the experience? Think about it, okay? Not only that, this degree is about discernment. Literally. What's up, Latavia, baby? This is about discernment, okay? Not literal. Because the woman represents receptivity, the moon, okay? Intuition, internal knowing, okay? Y'all see this? Okay. Internal knowing, okay? Not only that, the ability to observe without force. You see how calm and at ease she is? Okay, so this is important because Capricorn is often associated with control, authority, and external structure. So Capricorn at 29 degrees is asking us to balance practicality with intuition. So this is not emotional guessing here, okay? This is grounded perception, okay? Now, going into how this relates to the image that I showed you, the image of the woman with the teacup matters because she's not rushing. She chill. You know what I'm saying? In addition to that, she is not panicking. She's not demanding any answers. No, she chilling, right? She is reading what is already present. This is the lesson of this degree. Nothing new, I'd say, okay, needs to be created yet. The information is already there. So what's required is interpretation. Okay? So what this degree warns against, this Sabian symbol also comes with the warning. A 29-degree Capricorn cautions against things like making decisions out of fear, okay? Forcing outcomes, ignoring intuitive red flags, okay? Committing before fully reading the situation. Because this is a late degree. Choices made here carry weight into the next cycle. People do not understand the consequences of their actions. This is a tense degree, okay? We in the energy already. So what this degree is asking of us collectively. Collectively, this degree is asking us to slow down and read the signs before we leap, okay? This new moon is asking us to stop assuming, stop rushing, stop overriding your knowing to maintain comfort or control, okay? It's a degree of adult intuition, not impulsive intuition, not emotional intuition, but informed, observed, pattern-based knowing, okay? When you are observant, you will see the signs. When you sit and let your intuition ping, you will see what you need to see, okay? Now, because this is a 29th degree, we dealing with some completion, final tests, readiness to move forward or repeat a lesson. 29 degrees is the last working degree before the sign completes. So 29 degrees of Capricorn is asking us, have you learned enough to move forward responsibly? Okay, now collective assignment, and we keep it simple. Okay, this collective assignment under this new moon is asking us to observe repeating patterns for the next 7 days. Okay, notice where your body tightens or relaxes. Review one commitment that you've been forcing and make one grounded decision based on what you already know. Okay, that is how you work with Capricorn 29 degrees correctly. And I will tell you, when I put up boundaries and I feel a sense of irritants, it's because that boundary is working. Okay, that's your sign. That's your sign as an example. Okay, so now that we kind of got an understanding of the degree and the meaning of that Sabian symbol, the next step I want to do is kind of tap into how this new moon is going to operate in the sky. And that's kind of where we look at the aspects, okay? And so the aspects of this moon here in Capricorn, new moon, is really going to be interesting in real time, because when we look at the aspects describes the relationships between planets, the angles they make to one another, you know, and those angles determine how energy flows and how easy or challenging something is and what kind of response is required, okay? So the first thing we're going to look at, and I did print out 2 of them. One I couldn't find, the glyphs. But you know what? Let me just do this. This is so funky. I don't like how this look. Okay, y'all, don't laugh at me over here on YouTube, okay? This is my first video, so I'm getting it together. So basically, we're looking at Capricorn. This is Capricorn right here, okay? Capricorn is right here, okay? You can see the sun and the moon on top of each other right now, okay? The sun and the moon are conjunct. They're on top of each other. That's when they come together. Conjunction basically is the beginning, fusion, reset, okay? And so a conjunction with the sun and the moon conjunct in Capricorn, this new moon itself represents a reset, a merging of awareness and emotion, and a planting of a seed, okay? Because this conjunction happens in Capricorn, the reset is focused on responsibility, structure, maturity, long-term planning. So this is not an emotional reset. This is a practical reset. So the question here should be, what am I committing to for the long haul? Think about that. What am I committing to for the long haul? Then we're going to look at the sun and the moon because that's sextile Saturn. Okay, so we have the sun and the moon here, and Saturn is right here. Okay, so the sun and the moon is on top of each other right here in Capricorn, sextiling Saturn. Saturn and Neptune is in Aries. Okay, sun and the moon in Capricorn, they're on top of each other. They are sextiling that purple line Saturn. Saturn and Uranus is in Pisces, okay, before going to Aries and all hell gonna break loose. Anyway, that's another day, another topic. Anyway, that's going to be a sextile. So a sextile is an opportunity, cooperation, support. So this new moon forms a sextile to Saturn. Now, a sextile is not forceful, it's an invitation. It offers support if you choose to engage in it, okay? Because Saturn represents discipline, time, and accountability, and consequence. So this aspect is asking us to make mature decisions, take responsibility for our choices, and build something that can last. Because this aspect rewards planning, patience, in addition, follow through, okay? Because if you choose structure now, Saturn is going to support you later. That is the reason why I'm going real hard in the paint on this particular lunation, because this is the opportunity to change your life, okay? Speak it into existence. I'm going to get into that. Then the sun and the moon conjunct are going to sextile Neptune. So we've already seen that situation because the sun and the moon is here, okay? And it's going to sextile Neptune. Saturn is Neptune, right? Saturn and Neptune are both right now in Pisces, okay? They're going to go in Aries. It's always counterclockwise when you're looking at the natal chart. And so that right there, Neptune, that's still a sextile is support, you know, subtle support that is. And then also intuitive opportunities. So this new moon sextiles Neptune. Neptune governs your intuition, your sensitivity, your spirituality, and the illusion as well, okay? So this aspect blends practical Capricorn energy with intuitive awareness. That's why that Sabian symbol is very important, how it ties in that particular degree, okay? But here's the important distinct. Neptune doesn't ask you to escape reality. It asks you to feel the truth of the reality, okay? So this aspect right here that I'm talking about, Sun, Moon, Sextile, Neptune, is asking you, are you being honest with yourself? Are you seeing clearly or avoiding discomfort? Are you listening to your intuition without bypassing reality? And how many people do we know are doing that? Okay, but I ain't here to judge. This is intuition grounded, not idealized, okay? Because Neptune can have you all in illusion and confusion and have rose-colored glasses on. No, this is some intuition that's grounded, okay, in reality, okay? And then we have the sun and the moon that's going to trine Uranus. Oh my God, okay? So here we go again. Sun and the moon, okay, is about to trine Uranus. Uranus is in Taurus, been shaking up the earth, been shaking up the money, been shaking up everything as it relates to food, money, earth, stability, security, value system. Anyway, Sun and the moon, blue line, sextile Uranus, okay? Now, a trine, no, I'm sorry, trine, y'all. Sorry, trine. Sun, moon, trine, Uranus. Trine is about ease, flow, okay? Natural alignment. And this new moon also forms a trine. You know, when it forms that trine to new moon, it's a harmonious aspect. So energy is going to flow easily here. But Uranus represents change, innovation, liberation, freedom, breaking old patterns. So this aspect is going to support updating outdated systems, breaking habits that no longer serve, and making the necessary changes without the chaos. Because this is strategic change, not reckless change. Uranus trine the new moon is saying you can evolve without destroying everything. Okay? You can change and free yourself without destroying everything. Now, how these aspects work together, when we put all of these aspects together, the message really is very clear. Saturn is saying build responsibly, okay? Neptune is saying trust what you feel, but stay honest and stay true to you, Okay? Uranus is saying change what no longer works. So this new moon is not about extremes, it's about measured, intentional adjustment. So this is the kind of lunation that rewards people who kind of slow down, observe patterns, make thoughtful decisions, okay? And respect timing. Literally, respect timing. Okay. Now, what to be mindful of under these aspects? With these aspects, the main thing to avoid is rushing decisions. Okay. And I mean, I've had some fires that I had to put out earlier. I assisted people with putting fires out earlier. Literally. Okay. It hit my north node, so I'm grounded. I'm a Virgo moon too, and a Virgo Venus. So, I can kind of sit a little longer, okay? But anyway, you really have to be mindful of this to avoid forcing outcomes, ignoring intuitive red flags, or trying to control everything out of fear. Because this is not a moon that's going to respond well to pressure. It's going to respond to discernment. Okay, intuition is very key here. Now, this is not a moon that's definitely here to play games. We're dealing with Capricorn Saturn now, so we really need to be careful that we are not faded. That's the best word I could say. Now that we can understand that, okay, let's go ahead and move on, okay? Because the next step I want to look at is the numerical vibration of the day itself, because numbers tell us how the energy wants to move in time, and that's where we kind of go next. So, numerology of the day, okay? How the timing itself is operating, and as a numerologist, this is a fun thing to decode. Um, and so when we look at the moon, the degree, the Sabian symbol, and the aspects, you do want to look at the numbers. And so when we work with numerologically energy, we don't mix languages, okay? So for this section, we're going to stay strictly with the time vibration. I don't want to get too crazy with it. So when we look at the lunation, the moon day, okay, that's January 18th, 2026. Today is the 16th, so in 2 days, the 18th. So we calculate the numerology of the day. We just add the four date, 1 January 1/8, 18, 2026 for the year. That comes to 20. 2 plus 0 is what? 2. Okay? So this new moon occurs on a 20-2 day. And what a 2 day means is awareness, sensitivity, observation, patience, and timing. A 2 day is not a push forward day, it's a pause and perceive day, okay? It is asking, do you have all the information yet? Are you responding or are you reacting? Are you listening as much as you're acting? Okay? Because this aligns perfectly with that Sabian symbol of reading the tea leaves, because the 2 is about watching the pattern before you move. Okay. Now, the power of the 20, which is compounded number, the 2 and the 0. Okay. You don't ignore that either. 20 is often the awakening. Okay. And it represents heightened awareness, spiritual perception, and realization through reflection. Okay. So with the 20-2 vibration, that tells me that something is being revealed, but only if we're paying attention. Okay. I mean, and if you take this from our lives and take it out into the world events, I think we should already be very aware that something is trying to get our attention. We can feel it, we see it. It's not normal. It's not common, but I don't want to get banned on my first day out the gate on YT, so let me stay censored. Okay, this is definitely a vibration of a day that is not for impulsive decisions. Okay, this literally is a day of recognizing what's already clear. Okay, now how this day number blends with Capricorn, uh, literally, Capricorn is disciplined, cautious, deliberate, and future focused. Okay, so a Capricorn new moon on a 2 day tells us that we need to slow the process, read the room, read the situation, make measured decisions, and choose stability over urgency, because this day is going to support strategic planning. Y'all, Mercury is in my third house. Okay, my vocabulary has been stumbling. Okay, but is this going to really help us with strategic planning, boundary setting, and quiet commitment. It doesn't support rushing, forcing, or emotional decision making. So, what to avoid on this day? We really need to be careful because from an that dang on name, boy, to be a numerologist and can't even say the word. This lab since Mercury been in my third house, it has been crazy. Now, this day from a numerology perspective, okay, is we need to avoid confronting anyone or anything aggressively. We need to make sure we do not issue ultimatums. We need to make sure that we do not launch anything impulsively or demand any immediate outcomes, okay? Because this power of two is subtle. It's going to work through timing, not pressure, okay? Now, the key takeaway from this numerology of the day, okay, is reinforcing everything that we already covered. Observe first, interpret clearly, move deliberately, because this is how you align with the timing instead of fighting it. Okay, so now that we understand the day level numerology, the next step I want to zoom out and look at the larger numerical cycles as we kind of transitioning through, because this new moon is not just happening in isolation. Okay, and this is where I want to talk about the universal year and the Chinese astrology cycles. So the big cycle numbers, basically the universal year shift and the Chinese astrology transition. Like 2025, we were in universal year 9 and we were in the wood snake in a Chinese astrology. Now we're into the universal year 1 because 2026 equates to a 1. And Chinese astrology is the fire horse. Just think about a horse moving fast and that sapsucker on fire. Momentum, movement, action. Let's go. Okay. That is how 2026 is feeling and will be feeling. So this is interesting because it's occurring at the end of one major cycle and the beginning of another. Okay, 9 to 1 in the numerical system. As a numerologist, 1 to 9. Okay, when you get to 9, you go to 1. Okay, so we are at that shift. Okay, collectively and numerologically. Okay, so universal year shift from 9 to 1. We are transitioning out of the 9 and preparing. Entering into that year 1 and this is crazy because universal year we know represents closures, endings, completions, karmic resolutions. You know what I'm saying? Letting go of what has already kind of run its course, what's not serving us anymore. And historically, year 9 periods tend to coincide with the collapse of outdated systems, okay? Emotional exhaustion, major closures in personal and collective life, and the realization that something cannot continue the way it has been. And if y'all been looking at the headlines, you know something is about to pop off. It can't keep going the way it's going. Something's about to pop off. So year 9 is not about starting fresh. It's about finishing properly, okay? Now, what universal year 1 represents is the opposite energy. It represents new beginnings, leadership, initiation, independence, and the birth of new timelines, okay? And historically, universal year 1 periods tended to bring new leadership themes, interesting, okay? New movements, fresh identity narratives, and the beginning of long-term cycles that shape the decade ahead. But here's the key teaching. You do not step into a clean year 1 if you refuse to complete the clean 9 or complete the 9. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. The universe is not allowing us to step into a clean year 1 fresh with your Air Force Ones. We can't do that if we refuse to complete year 9. Okay, that's why this Capricorn new moon matters, and it's asking us to close cycles consciously. Okay, not only that, we need to do so that we don't drag that old baggage into a new beginning. Okay, hey y'all, how you doing? Okay, so that's why that is important. Now, this new moon sits at the threshold because this new moon occurs at the tail end of a 9-year cycle, right before the collective shifts into a number 1 cycle, okay? And that means the energy is not new yet, it is preparatory, okay? Because a lot of people think January 1 is the new year. That is the patriarchal, numerical, flip up, matrix type of calendar. That's my belief system. to each his own, okay? The numerical year doesn't start until spring equinox. That is Aries, the first zodiac in the astrological wheel. That is where the momentum and the movement is. That is the number one zodiac. Okay? So that is really when things kick off around March. So we are in preparatory energy here, okay? So this is where we need to clear space, restructure, set boundaries, and decide what does not come forward with you in this new cycle. Because Capricorn supports this process because Capricorn governs accountability, consequences, and long-term vision. Now that we got the universal years out, the 9 and the 1, let's dip into this Chinese astrology. The year of the wood snake, what we are leaving, okay? We leaving the wood snake because the snake is strategic, observant, and patient. And wood energy emphasizes growth through planning, slow expansion, and behind the scenes movement. And if y'all look at that from a collective things, all things came out that was behind the scenes, not all, but a lot in personal lives and in the world events, okay? And so historically, snake years are associated with strategy over speed, quiet power, and information gathering before action, as well as calculated decisions. So the collective lesson of the snake this 2025 was move when you know, not when you anxious. Okay? Now that we're into the entering into the fire horse, okay? We need to be prepared for this because the horse is fast, the horse is independent, the horse is visible, the horse is bold, and that mug got fire on it, okay? And when you put fire, horse together, we're looking at fire energy that adds intensity, impulsiveness, passion, and volatility if not grounded. So historically, fire horses, period, fire horse periods, I say, are associated with rapid social movement, rebellion against restriction, leadership shifts, accelerated change. Should I go on? And people refusing to be controlled. Do you not know what we getting ready to run into, y'all? I think y'all know, okay? Anyway, y'all need to make sure y'all got y'all passports, y'all certificates, y'all IDs, y'all insurance. Y'all need to make sure y'all let people know that you are from where you're from. I'm just going to say that right now. It's important, okay? Anyway, fire horse energy does not wait, it moves. And that's exactly why this Capricorn containment is essential now, okay? Now, why these why these cycles matter really together. When you combine the end of a year 9 and approach the universal year 1, the transition from snake to fire horse, okay? The message is very clear. This is the last moment to slow down before momentum accelerates. So this Capricorn new moon energy is here to help you and me prepare, stabilize, and fortify our foundation, okay? And that's when speed increases and we are not overwhelmed by it, okay? We need to make sure we stabilize, prepare, and fortify our foundation, okay? Because when that speed takes off in March, as we're approaching it, we won't be overwhelmed by it, okay? Now, this is something important, okay? This is not about prediction, it's about pattern recognition. Historically, when cycles like this overlaps, what is unstable collapses. What is unclear gets exposed. And what is well structured survives and grows. That's why this new moon is not optional, it's instructional, okay? Capricorn, Saturn teaches. Okay. Now that we have an understanding of the larger numerical and this, the shifts taking place, the next piece I want to get to is where we are in this eclipse cycle. Yes, I said it, eclipse cycle. Okay. We have an eclipse coming because eclipses are the mechanism that actually activate the transitions. Okay. Now, where we are, where we're going, and why this matters. Now that we've kind of discussed the new moon, the degrees, the Sabian symbols, the aspects, and the numerology of the day, the numerical cycles, let's talk about these eclipses because eclipses really are the mechanisms that actually activate change. Baby, eclipses do not behave like regular lunations. They are turning points, okay? Not just emotional cycles here. So what an eclipse is really the foundation. An eclipse occurs when the sun and the moon and the lunar nodes align closely enough to interrupt the usual flow of light. And astrologically, eclipses represent course correction, accelerated events, revelations, and karmic shifts because they are karmic points. So they tend to bring endings and beginnings that feel unavoidable. If you won't do it, the universe is going to do it for you. Changes that unfold quickly, okay? And events that reveal what has been hidden. This is why eclipses are never subtle. Solar eclipses versus lunar eclipses, the difference between the two, it's important to understand that because a solar eclipse is what we're going to experience first, and it's going to be in Aquarius. That occurs at new moons. They represent initiation, new chapters, identity shifts, and future direction. A solar eclipse is asking you what is beginning, okay? Whether you're ready or not, it's happening, okay? And then a lunar eclipse occurs at full moons, okay? They represent culmination, emotional truth. Hey, Dorothy Cuz, how you doing? They represent culmination, emotional truth, release, and correction. So lunar eclipse is asking you what must end or be adjusted so balance can be restored. Now, this current eclipse axis that we're entering, we are currently working with an axis that's going to be involved in Aquarius, Leo, Virgo, and Pisces, okay? The south node right now is in Virgo. The north node is in Pisces, okay? So we've had a series of eclipses, solar and lunar, in those zodiacs. Now we're going to have an experience of Aquarius. Then it's going to go to Pisces, I think. Yeah, and then it's going to go to Leo. Okay, so anyway, this axis is going to highlight tension between individuals and systems. Aquarius Leo axis, because Leo is across from Aquarius, okay? And service and surrender with the Virgo and the Pisces axis. So your house where your Virgo sit, your house where your Leo sit will be activated, okay? Your service and surrender house, your Virgo and your Pisces houses will be activated. And collectively, okay, this is about redefining identity within society, okay, correcting burnout and restructuring how energy is exchanged. So as we approach, we're already in the energy because the energy of an eclipse happens 6 weeks before and 6 weeks to a year after, okay? So this solar eclipse in Aquarius is the initiation point. It's upcoming. It represents initiation, okay? And Aquarians govern systems, networks, technology, collective structures, and future-oriented thinking. So this eclipse is going to initiate shifts in identity, changes in how we participate in society, new ways of organizing and connecting, and a break from outdated structures. This is not a personal ego change. This is systematic change, okay? A systemic change. Now, this degree range of impact with this Aquarius solar eclipse, this is going to activate late degrees of Aquarius, approximately 24 degrees to 30 degrees in Aquarius, okay? 29 degrees, really. So because eclipse activate axes, they also impact 24 degrees to the 30 degrees Leo opposition as well, and forms tension in late degrees of the Taurus and the Scorpio. So that whole fixed cross, Leo, Aquarius, hold on, y'all. I'm about to sneeze. Ugh. Okay. My allergies. Okay, so this Leo Aquarius and this Taurus Scorpio axis, that's going to feel some tension in those late degrees, 24 to 30 degrees, okay? So if you are have anyone that you know that have late placements, natal placements in late Aquarius, late Leo, late Taurus or Scorpio, yeah, you're definitely probably going to feel this a lot. This is directly rewriting something in your chart, okay? Y'all bear with me. I have literally, let's see. My allergies are killing me. Okay, so this Virgo is going to be the lunar eclipse after that, okay? And it comes a few weeks after the solar eclipse. And that's going to be about correction and release. So this is going to be the second half of the story, you know, because they come in tandems. a solar eclipse and a lunar eclipse, okay? Or it could be the lunar eclipse or the solar eclipse. But this is going to be the second half of the eclipse, and this is going to be in Virgo, a lunar eclipse, and it's going to govern areas of health, routines, daily systems, work habits, and efficiency. So this eclipse may expose burnout, inefficiency, over functioning, and imbalance between giving and rest. Okay. I can't believe my allergies want to act up right now. Now, in addition to that, this lunar eclipse is going to occur in Virgo at 12 degrees. Okay, so anything between 8 and 18 degrees of Virgo is where this operates at. Also, you want to look at the opposite sign of Virgo, which is Pisces. Same thing, 8 degrees to 18 degrees. So if you have planets or angles in those ranges, you want to expect some realizations, some emotional release, and the need to adjust routines or boundaries, because these are the Virgo Pisces are immutable. They need to adapt to change. Okay. Now, I would say this Capricorn new moon matters a lot in this eclipse story, because this new moon happens before the eclipse actively kind of fully unfolds, okay? And so that's why we call it I call it the preparatory, because this new moon is your chance to tighten structure, to make conscious decisions, to set some boundaries and stabilize work areas, okay? Areas that are weak, areas that are not solid. That is really what you need to be focusing on before eclipse energy accelerate events. Okay, now we don't have any control, but as much as you can do to soften the blow, okay, however that plays out for you, that is highly recommended. Okay, before eclipse energy accelerates events, we need to kind of make sure we are prepared and not caught off guard. Take advantage of this new moon so that we already somewhat stabilize, okay? Because this here is simple. If you prepare under this Capricorn, eclipses don't have to destabilize you, okay? So eclipses, they don't ask for permission. They reveal what's already unstable. And this Capricorn new moon is going to give you a window to respond consciously instead of reacting later. That's why we're taking the time to understand the cycle right now, okay? Give me a minute, y'all. This is bananas, okay? I gotta get my nasal cavity together here. Golly. Yeah. This is weird. Thank y'all for being patient. Oh, Lord Jesus. Allergy just hit out of nowhere. Okay, so let's get back into it, y'all. Thank you for being patient, okay? So now that we got an understanding of this eclipse set, okay, Aquarius and Virgo, these are the houses in which these eclipses will be taken off. Okay, we know what's initiating, we know what's correcting, and we know the degree ranges involved. Okay, the next logical step is identifying who's going to feel this the most. Okay, and we do that by looking at degrees and modalities. That's how I do it. Okay, now that we looked at that, I think in astrology the answer is never really everyone is equal. It's about degrees and modalities here. So with this Capricorn new moon active at 28 degrees, the range is 26 to 30 degrees Capricorn, and 0 to 2 degrees of Aquarius. So if you have those natal planets, angles, points, or ranges, this is personally activating your chart, not just working collectively, okay? Now, cardinal signs, they're the ones that are going to feel the strongest pressure. Okay, I happen to be a cardinal sign. Okay, our cardinal sign is always a cardinal energy initiates leadership, movement, decisions, okay? These are the signs most affected by this new moon, okay? They are Capricorn, because there's going to be a conjunction here. Cancer, there's going to be an opposition here. Aries and Libras, we're going to feel a square from this new moon, okay? Cardinal signs initiate action. They move energy forward. So when a new moon lands in a cardinal sign, it forces decisions, directional shifts, and accountability. And for cardinal placements in late degrees of 26 degrees to 30 degrees, this is not optional energy. Something must change, something must adjust, or something must be finalized. Okay? So we need to understand that. Next, those fixed signs, they're going to get some pressure through this eclipse set here. Okay? Fixed sign energy is about sustainability, stability, resistance, maintenance, endurance. Fixed signs feel this less through this new moon itself and more through this eclipse cycle, okay? So late degree fixed placements in Aquarius, Leo, Taurus, Scorpio, they're being activated by this Aquarius solar eclipse, okay? Fixed energy resists change. So eclipse is going to work by forcing you to adapt where stagnation has set in, okay? Fixed signs, y'all, and everyone has every zodiac in their chart. So wherever your Aquarius, wherever your Leo is, wherever your Virgo is, wherever your Pisces is, your lead, all that somewhere in your chart is going to be activated, okay? If you need help, y'all know how to find me, okay? Anyway, with this energy, this is definitely going to be a force of change for you. Fixed signs, okay? Now, mutable signs, because there's only three modalities. There is cardinal, there is mutable, and there are fixed. Oh my God, don't tell me my phone finna go out. Hold on. The devil is busy today, baby. Hold on, Lord Jesus, this is crazy. Y'all, hold on. Well, thank goodness for a battery pack. I about lost my people. Okay. The devil trying, but he ain't gonna get it. Okay, so mutable signs. We last on the modalities. Okay, mutable signs. It's about adjustment and correction. Okay, mutable is about flexibility, adaptation, and refinement. So mutable signs feel this Virgo, Pisces, lunar eclipse most strongly. So for you mutable signs, definitely you wanna, if you have placements between 8 and 18 degrees of Virgo or 8 and 18 degrees of Pisces, this eclipse is asking for course correction, release of burnout, and rebalancing routines versus rest. Mutable signs adjust systems, and this eclipse is going to demand some adjustment from you, okay? Now, why modalities matter here, I'm bringing them up because understanding modalities kind of tells us how the energy expresses itself. Cardinal signs are pushed to act, okay? Fixed signs are pushed to change, and mutable signs are pushed to recalibrate. And this prevents confusion and self-judgment, okay? So if nothing dramatic is happening for you, that doesn't mean nothing is working. It just means your chart isn't being hit at those critical degrees, okay? So this Capricorn new moon does not affect everyone the same way. Those with those late degrees of cardinal placements are going to feel the pressure first. Those with those late degrees of fixed placements are going to feel this eclipse shifts. And those mid degrees, mutable placements, are going to feel the emotional correction because the degrees tell the story, not the sign stereotypes. Okay? So now that we know who is most affected and where their pressure points are, the next step I want to get into is how to work with this moon intentionally. What to do, what to avoid, and how to use this energy wisely. And when I say this is probably the most important part, all of my kids know, okay, what to do, how to do it, okay, and where it's happening, okay? You think I'm not going to help my babies out? Anyway, how to work with this new moon right here, what to do, what to avoid, how to use this energy wisely. We definitely want to know where this new moon is landing by degree in our chart. What Sabian symbol is asking us. How the aspects of, functioning. Who is most affected and how this fits into larger cycles. So this final collective question then becomes, how do we work with this moon correctly now? Okay, and so what you do under a Capricorn new moon is going to reward intentional action, not about emotional reaction. Okay, so we want to tighten the structure, and Capricorn energy supports organizing, budgeting, okay, restructuring schedules, in addition clarifying roles and responsibilities. So this is a time to reduce excess, define boundaries, and strengthen foundations. Golly, I'm all up in this energy right here. We also need to make some major commitments because this new moon supports, I would say, commitments that are realistic, sustainable, and aligned with long-term goals. So we need to ask ourselves, can we maintain this 6 months from now? Okay, if the answer is no, it don't belong in this cycle. Simple as that. Okay, and I had to ask myself and someone else, can this happen within 6 months? Yes, it can. Okay, it's on and popping. Hey, yes, I was organizing too. I got rid of some things I didn't need, and I felt so much lighter. I looked at myself in the mirror, and I spoke what I'm going to be doing in 6 months from now, when it's the full moon in Capricorn. Since it's the new moon in Capricorn, we got to plant the seed. This is a new moon in Capricorn, so we're going to plant the seed. We're going to get the harvest of that 6 months from now, okay, or within that time frame. So 6 months from now, I'm looking in the mirror, already looking at what I'm manifesting right now. That's how you work with this energy. It's just like the farmer's almanac. They know how to plant the seeds to get the harvest. All you're doing is planting the seeds. You are the co-creator of your life. Work with the energy. Okay? Don't let the energy work you. Anyway, let's get back into it. You want to ask yourself, can you maintain this 6 months from now? If the answer is no, then it don't belong in this cycle, okay? But before we start acting between the 2-day numerology and that Capricorn 29 Sabian symbol, observation is key. So this moon is for reviewing patterns, checking assumptions, and letting clarity arrive naturally. Because action comes after discernment, right? We got to remember she's reading the tea leaves, so the intuition, the observing, the intuition is in our first, it's in our face. Take the rose-colored glasses off and call it for what it is, okay? We also need to lead ourselves first because Capricorn is about self-governance, okay? This new moon is asking, where do you need to feel stronger in the terms of self-discipline, okay? Where do you need firmer boundaries in your life? Okay? Where have you been outsourcing responsibility? Because leadership starts internally. Okay? Now, what we do not need to be doing under this new moon is this new moon does not support certain behaviors, okay? Enforcing them can create some unnecessary resistance. We're dealing with Capricorn and Saturn right here. Big Daddy Saturn, the planet of karma, good or bad. So we need to avoid rushing decisions, okay? Late Capricorn degree energy is going to penalize impulsiveness. If something feels urgent but unclear, wait. Period. We need to avoid overextending. This is not the time to take on extra responsibilities, rescue others, or say yes out of guilt because Capricorn respects limits. Okay? We also need to avoid emotional control. Capricorn shadow energy tries to manage outcomes through control. This moon is asking for containment, not domination. Okay? Now, how this prepares you for these eclipses, this new moon is preparatory, like I say. So if you organize now, simplify now, clarify now, then this eclipse energy later becomes a revelation for you, not chaos. Don't let it catch you off guard. It will. Uranus is involved. Okay? I ain't in your business. I ain't even touched you yet, baby. Okay? Wait until I get into these zodiac signs here. Now, what I want us to take away from this new moon is not about pushing forward. It's about positioning ourselves correctly. Okay? So we need to structure now, observe clearly, commit wisely, because this is how you work with this new moon. Okay? All right, so now that we've covered how to work with this new moon energetically and practically, I want to get into some supportive tools. Y'all know I make chakra stone healing jewelry. I make chakra stone healing oils, okay? And I use simple forms of divination as practices. All of that aligns with this lunation without overwhelming it. Those tools that I will share with you will be stones, herbs, simple practices, okay? Now, these are not requirements. They are reinforcements. Capricorn energy responds best to simplicity, intention, and consistency. We don't need to overload. Okay, so I'm gonna be selective with the stones, okay? The stones that you need to have if you are into chakra stones, okay? We have here onyx, which is this is more brown black, and we have tourmaline, okay? Onyx and tourmaline. Onyx and tourmaline. Because these stones support grounding, energetic boundaries, okay, and containment, okay? Literally, onyx and tourmaline stones, they're good for stabilizing energy, protecting focus, and preventing emotional bleed through. I keep these around me to keep me grounded, to keep negative energy away from me, okay? Also, the other stone, if you have smoky quartz is also a good stone to have because smoky quartz clears the mental clutter, transmutes stress, and anchors decisions into reality. Okay, this stone aligns well with Capricorn's need for clarity and endurance. Okay, now also if you have a clear quartz, in which I do, but when I'm in my mojo bag, this is my clear quartz. It's my pendulum, y'all. Okay. Do I need to eat a steak tonight? It'll tell you yes or no and maybe. Anyway, this is clear quartz right here. Y'all know I'm a clown, okay? Clear quartz right here. If you have your clear quartz, this is the optional amplifier. If you choose this, keep it focused, okay? Program it specifically for discipline, clarity, and long-term stability. Avoid vague intentions when you messing with this stone right here under this moon. Okay, clear quartz ain't gonna play with you. It's gonna amplify the intentions that you put out. So don't be vague. And I'm gonna talk to you real quick. Let's just say you want to get married and you want a, tall, dark, and lovely husband, right? Be careful what you ask for because you're gonna get a tall, dark, and lovely husband or man, right? He might be broke. He might be missing teeth. He might be mentally unstable or a pervert or a murderer. Sorry, I said that. So you really need to be specific, okay? Specific. Capricorn ain't gonna play with you, so we need to be specific, okay? Now, those are the stones that, and I always charge my stones under a new moon, okay? Because that infuses the energy because I work with my stones and keep them on me, my jewelry and all of that. The next thing I think is important is patchouli, okay? Patchouli is a earthy scent. Patchouli, rock that because patchouli supports stability, okay? These are ancient ancestral scents, okay? Grounding and material focus, okay? It's useful for anchoring in our intentions, reinforcing boundaries and working with long-term goals, okay? Make sure you get you some good patchouli. Don't get you no patchouli from, inspired patchouli. No, get you some real, it could be from India, okay? Anyway, the next thing I would recommend is cinnamon, okay? You can sprinkle your cinnamon over the counter or you can get cinnamon sticks, okay? Cinnamon brings focus, activation, and motivation, okay? You want to use it sparingly because Capricorn energy is about control of fire, not intensity. Now, if you want something to act fast and you put a lot of cinnamon on it and it's going to act fast, but just a little bit, okay? Bay leaves, okay? In your kitchen, bay leaves, boom. It supports clarity of intention, discipline, manifestation, okay, and written commitments, okay, y'all. My bloodline is from the Mississippi, okay. This is in my DNA. Hoodoo, working the root, making sure you're doing it the right way, okay. So yeah, if this is gonna help me propel and be a better person, you dang all right. Anyway, bay leaves, okay? This is going to work well for setting structured goals, okay? And when you grab a bay leaf, you want to really honestly, and this is what my 20 told me from Ghana. You lick on it 3 times because it's yours. It's your intention. It's your essence. You speak into it. You write on it, okay? And you burn it. You didn't put your intention in the universe with intention, okay? So bay leaves work very well, okay? In addition, for those who do magic stick candles like me, Okay, the only colors you need to be working with during this lunation is black and green. Green is for earth, black is for protection. Okay, these are my magic sticks. So I'll, put some herb or oil on there if I want. It just depends on what type of intention I'm setting, or I just let it, flow. But these are my little holders, little ceramic holders. But magic sticks, you can get them. They burn for like 2 hours, and once they burn, poof, it's gone. Okay, you didn't set your intention. Now, for those who like longer burning candles, I roll with an ancestor altar. Where my ancestors are, so I keep a candle burning every day. There is not a day that I don't have a candle burning unless I'm not in the home. This is a green candle, 7-day candle. Be careful if you get it from Dollar Tree. It ain't gonna burn in 7 days. It's gonna burn in like 2.5 days. So get you a good one, okay? I got this from Kroger. It'll burn literally like 6 days. Or you can get you a black candle, okay? Black candle. These are 7-day candles, but it depends on where you get them from. If you spend $1.25, probably gonna be 2 days, 3 days, okay? But anyway, black and green. And then I'm gonna tell you something. This is something I give a shot to my ancestors. It's got that fireball. They drink this up quick, okay? This is cinnamon. This is alcohol. So if you know your ancestors like cigars, tobacco, candy, things of that nature, I always have a treat, candy, water, cinnamon, bay leaves, money. I give air, earth, water, and fire in addition. But I also give a shot, a cup of coffee, okay? A shot of fireball. That's what my ancestors like. They do not like Jack Daniels. I'll tell you that. Every time I put Jack Daniels down, it goes sour within a few hours. Anyway, let's keep going. Okay, so simple practices, I would say. These are simple practices. Honestly speaking, I think those are, they're very awesome for that. Okay, now hold on 1 minute. Hold on 1 minute. That should be it. I'm not going to get too, crazy in it because I really don't want us to, get too deep off into it. Okay. Now, then, because you really don't need too much when you're dealing with Capricorn energy. It's real serious. It's simplistic, but it's impactful. Okay. So we want to make sure we understand. We don't want to overdo it. Okay. Now, let's go ahead and get into the let's see, I think I got this together here. Okay. Hold on, y'all. I'm going to make sure I didn't miss anything because I'm going to go, once I hit the rising signs, I'm going straight through them. I'm going to do a closing and an affirmation I'm going to leave us with, and I'm out. I'll have a timestamp for you guys to go back on the YouTube video and check it out because it's a lot of information, but I think it's important that we understand what this is before it gets to us, okay? So now that we have a good idea on the things that you can work with regards to stones, herbs, and things of that nature, candles, and the intentions, okay? Speak it into existence and be real clear about your intention. That's what's going to help you. Now, the next thing I think we're going to do is what to avoid in ritual work because I think it's important. A lot of people kind of go overboard, okay? We definitely need to, so we don't need to overcomplicate things. That's really what I want to say. This is not an elaborate type of lunation where it needs elaborate things. Write our intentions down. What are you committing to? What are you releasing? And what boundaries are you reinforcing? Be specific. Be realistic with your intentions. Speak them out. Write them out. If you write them out, burn them or bury them in earth. Okay? It's up to you. Or charge it with stone. As long as you have earth connected to it, you're fine. Now, then we got the physical decluttering. Capricorn energy responds strongly to cleaning, organizing, and removing excess. Okay. Physical order supports mental clarity. Take advantage of that. Boundary setting. This can be as simple as saying no. Okay. Adjusting schedules or limiting access to your time and your energy. Okay. Capricorn respects containment. what to avoid in ritual work, okay? And this is what I say, manifestation. You are your own creator. So co-create with the energy. So you won't be sitting 6 months saying, I wish I coulda, woulda, shoulda. This is your golden time to do this. And I am praying that everyone who runs across this is ready for this. Not everybody gonna catch it, but those who do, hey, we're gonna sit back and be talking about it between 6 months from now and 6 months. So what we gonna avoid, what we have to avoid with ritual work here is overlaying things, okay? Emotional manifestation language. You know what I'm saying? Urgency-based intention setting, okay? This moon rewards consistency, not intensity, okay? So we want to make sure that we are understanding that this Capricorn new moon is about less is more, clarity is power, and discipline is protection. Hence the reason why we got the black candle, okay? Now that we have grounded this new moon practically, okay, the final collective layer before these rising signs is the tarot message tied to this lunation, okay? And I happen to have one tarot card for each zodiac, but I want to talk about the collective real quick. And so I'll just take the most serious, the simplest one. This is the Right Away Tarot deck, Four of Pentacles. This is going to be on live recorded on YouTube. I'll have it up here for a while on Facebook, but it will be on my YouTube channel, My Leaks Mystical Magic. I'll put that in there in the comments, Carlotta, okay? So this is the Right Away Tarot deck right here, okay? And so this is the theme for this new moon, Four of Pentacles. Before we move into the rising signs, there's this layer here that I want to tie everything together with, okay? This card is guiding this lunation right now. This is the Four of Pentacles. And this fits this because this card is about containment, protection, conservation, and holding what matters. And this aligns perfectly with Capricorn's focus on structure and responsibility, the late degree energy of consolidation, the Sabian symbol of discernment, and the preparatory nature of this moon before eclipses accelerate change, okay? So when it's in the upright, the conscious use of it, at its highest expression, this Four of Pentacles represents knowing your limits, protecting your resources, setting firm boundaries, and refusing to overextend, okay? This card is asking you what needs to be protected right now so it can last. Now, under this new moon, this Four of Pentacles supports financial discipline, energetic boundaries, emotional containment, and long-term planning, okay? Because this is not fear-based holding. This is intentional stewardship, okay? Now, when this is in reverse, this is the shadow side of the Four of Pentacles, okay? When it's in reverse. What we need to watch for, okay, is a fear of loss, emotional rigidity, control issues, or holding on to past things that have expired. Okay, this is where Capricorn energy literally can become defensive instead of disciplined. So this new moon is asking, are you protecting wisely or are you climbing because you're afraid to trust change? Discernment is going to be the difference between the up and the down position of this card. Now, how this card ties everything together right now is when you overlay the Four of Pentacles on everything that we discuss. Capricorn is saying, be responsible. Okay, Saturn is saying be accountable. That 29 degree of Sabian symbol right here, which her reading the tea leaves, is saying read the signs, okay? The numerology of the day is saying move with awareness. The eclipses is saying change is coming. The monks are out walking to let you know change is coming, okay? Anyway, these Four of Pentacles here represents energy that is saying secure what matters before the momentum increases. Secure what matters before the momentum increases, okay? So this card is not asking you to stop growing at all. It is asking you to stabilize first, choose intentionally, and protect your foundation. Because what is solid now is going to support you later What is solid now is going to support you later, okay? Now that we got that here, everything we covered so far in the collective framework, I want to get into these rising signs, okay? And I'm going to apply this degree, the Sabian symbol, the aspects, the numerology, the eclipse shifts, and the Four of Pentacles messages for you directly to your chart. Okay, so as we go through each rising signs, I need you to listen for where this new moon is going to activate your axis, the actual house, and the opposition, the axis, energy axis. Okay, in addition to that, I want to tell you what is going to be stabilized. Okay, what is being prepared and what is being protected. So this is important because I want to be very clear on how we need to listen to this part of the presentation too. Very important, because if we look at it from, let's just say you don't have your natal chart, right? And you look at it from your sun sign and your moon sign, understand that the sun speaks to purpose, vitality, and conscious direction. The moon speaks to emotional needs, instincts, and inner responses. But the rising sign, if you know that, it tells everything, okay? It tells us something different. It's going to describe the lens through which this new moon and the upcoming eclipse activity is actually entering in your life. The 12 houses, the 12 areas of life where this is actually happening is going to only be pinpointed by way of knowing your rising sign. So if you know your rising sign, great. If you need help, you know the exact time of birth that you was born, then you will be able to get access to your rising sign. So anyway, the rising sign literally shows where this energy activates in your chart, what life areas are being triggered, what axis is being illuminated, and how events are likely to show up externally. If the sun is why and the moon is how you feel, the rising sign is where it's going to play out in real time. Okay? That's how you look at that. When someone asks you your big three, your sun, moon, rising, that is where. The sun is why, the moon is how, and the rising sign is where. Okay? Now, rising signs here, I'm not going to get too much into it because we've covered all of that, okay? I just think we need to know that if you listen to it from your sun sign, okay, just understand that it will be coming from the purpose, okay? If you look at from the moon sign, it'll be your emotions. And your rising sign is where it's going to be playing out. So with that said and done, let me take a sip, and then we're going to get right into it. I think I got everything. And I'm so happy. The time. Okay, so Aries up. Aries, sun, moon, rising. Okay, this is going to be playing out in your 10th house, 4th house axis. So as an Aries rising, you naturally move fast. You lead with instinct, and you prefer action over waiting. But this new moon in Capricorn is asking you to slow down and build something that holds, because the 10th house governs career direction, public image, leadership and authority, long-term goals. And the opposite of your 10th house is your 4th house, and that governs your home, your emotional security, your private life, your inner foundation. So this Lunation is asking you, Aries rising, is your public life stable because it's solid or because you're forcing it? And is your home base supporting you or draining you? Okay. Now, this moon's emotional ask is what you may feel. Emotionally, you may feel pressure to prove yourself, frustration with delays, Aries rising, the weight of responsibility, tension between work demands and what your spirit needs at home, because this new moon in Capricorn is asking you to stop running on adrenaline and start moving with strategy. We're going to be working smarter and not harder, Aries rising. Okay. Now, as far as this degree at 28 degrees and this the Sabian symbol at 29, this is really serious, okay? And then when you're looking at that woman reading the tea leaves for Aries rising, that message is very simple. Read the pattern, okay? Before you make the next big career move. Don't act off impulse. Don't act off pride. Don't act off pressure, Aries rising. This degree is saying the signs are already there. You need to interpret them correctly. Okay? Now, this eclipse, why this is preparatory for you, Aries rising. This new moon literally is preparing you for eclipse shifts that will intensify things around your long-term direction, your role in networks and systems, what you're building publicly, and what you can sustain privately. So the work now for you, Aries rising, is stabilized before the timeline accelerates. Okay? You are the Aries. You are the one. I'm sure it's going to hit you. Okay? Definitely. Now, the deck I pulled for you, okay, the spirit led me to, was the Deviant Moon deck. Okay? Deviant Moon deck. And that is this deck here, Deviant Moon Tarot deck. For you, Aries rising, your Four of Pentacles message is, okay? Y'all see it? Okay. So this basically, I chose this deck for you, Aries rising, because this is for you to slow down, your impulsive Aries energy and ground it into survival wisdom, restraint, containment, and holding your ground instead of burning through resources. Okay? So Aries rising, this Four of Pentacles message for you is protect your time, protect your energy, protect your reputation. Stop giving access to people who don't respect your structure. Okay? When it's upright, you got boundaries that equate to power. When it's in reverse, you are control that's out of fear. Okay? So I hope you operating in the upright, where you are putting down boundaries, because that's your power. Now, for you, bottom line, this new moon is asking you to mature your leadership, not by doing more, but by doing what's sustainable and holding your boundaries like it's non-negotiable, okay? So now that we have the Aries rising out of the way, we are going into Taurus rising, okay? Taurus risings, sun, moon risings, okay? This is going to be activating your ninth house, which is going to be opposing the third house. That's going to be illuminated. The sun is in your third house. The moon, actually, they both. This new moon, I'm tripping. So basically, that whole axis, though, is going to be activated for you. So as a Taurus rising, your chart ruler is Venus. So value, stability, and consistency are central to how you move through life. And so this new moon in Capricorn is going to activate your belief systems and your long-range vision, okay? So ninth house governs belief systems, higher education, spirituality, legal matters, long-term vision, and purpose. The opposing third house for you kind of governs daily mindset, community, short-term thinking, information intake, conversations, and decisions. You are a Taurus. You organize. How many times I've been over your house, Carlotta? Okay, I love being a guest at your home. You are a beautiful host. Okay, I will say that. And with that said, it makes sense now. Okay, and so especially with your flowers and your garden and stuff like that, yes, ma'am. Okay, I can already sense the energy off of you. Anyway, so looking at this Taurus risings, this moon's emotional ask of you. Actually, let me go back, because this new moon, literally, when we look at the ninth house and the third house, this lunation is asking you, Taurus risings, is do your everyday thoughts and conversations support the future so that you're building the future that you say you're building, or does it contradict it? Okay, let me try to word that the right way. Okay, do your everyday thoughts and conversations support the future that you say that you're building, or does it contradict it? Okay, think about that. So this moon's emotional ask is what you may feel emotionally. This could bring some restlessness around meaning and purpose, frustration with narrow thinking, awareness that your mindset has outgrown your environment. So you may feel called to expand, whether that's mentally, spiritually, or educationally, okay? But also realize that outdated thinking patterns are holding you back. So this moon here is asking you, are you thinking small because it feels safe, or because you're afraid to outgrow what's familiar? That's something to think about. Now, with regards to this degrees, Sabian symbol, why this is a turning point for you, 28 degrees of Capricorn, 29 degrees of Capricorn and Sabian symbol work, this is a combination degree. So Taurus rising, this Sabian symbol here is saying review long-held beliefs, reassess assumptions, and read the signs before committing to a new path. This is not about blind faith. This is about earned wisdom. So something that you believed for a long time is ready to either mature or be released. Taurus rising. Now, preparation for you for this eclipse here. This new moon is going to prepare you for eclipse that's going to shift areas that could impact how you engage with communities and systems, how you value the alignment with collective change, okay? How flexible your worldview truly is. Because what you mentally expand now is going to determine how smoothly you can adapt later, okay? Now, your card is the Gilded Royale deck, okay? And that is this. Taurus rises. This is what I picked for you. This is your Four of Pentacles. This is your Four of Pentacles, Taurus rising. So basically, Taurus rising, I basically, Taurus understands values and material security. This deck emphasizes wealth preservation, ownership, stewardship, and protecting what's been built without fear-based hoarding. Okay, so Taurus risings, this Four of Pentacles message for you is: what beliefs are worth keeping? What values are non-negotiable? And where are you clinging out of comfort rather than truth? Because when it's upright, you are protecting what have been proven value, what has proven value. Okay, you protect what has proven value when it's upright. When it's in the shadow in reverse, you're resisting growth to avoid uncertainty. Okay, so you definitely want to make sure that you are operating in the light version of this, because this Capricorn new moon is asking you, Taurus rising, to upgrade your mindset to match your future. Hold on to what's solid, release what's limiting, and don't mistake familiarity for truth. Okay? So now that we have Taurus risings out of the way, okay, I'll make sure. Now we're going to move it to Gemini's. Gemini sun, moon, risings. Where are you? Because this is going to be affecting your 8th house and your 2nd house. It's going to activate, the new moon is going to activate in your 8th house. It's going to be opposing your 2nd house that's going to be illuminated here. Okay, so as a Gemini, sun, moon, rising, your chart ruler is Mercury. So information, communication, and decision making is going to be central to how you move through life. So this new moon is going to activate your shared resources, your obligations, and deeper commitments. 8th house themes, okay? Because the 8th house governs shared finances, debts, investments, inheritances, and taxes, emotional entanglements, trust and power dynamics. Okay, the opposing house to the 8th house is Taurus house, or the 2nd house, and that's personal income, okay, self-worth, values, material security, ownership. So this lunation is asking you, Gemini, what are you financially, emotionally, or energetically tied to? And is it sustainable? Okay. Now, this moon's emotional ask. Emotionally, this moon can bring anxiety around money or stability. It could bring some heightened awareness of dependence or imbalance. There could be some pressure to confront some uncomfortable financial or emotional truths. So you may feel pulled between maintaining independence and honoring shared commitments, okay? So this moon here is asking you, where are you giving more than you're receiving and why? Okay? So you want to think about that, Geminis. Now, the degree, the Sabian symbol, this is a closing point for you, okay? Now, this Sabian symbol, the woman reading the tea leaves, is asking you, Gemini, read the fine print. Notice unspoken agreements and integrate patterns around money, power, and trust. This degree is going to warn against avoidance. Information that you've been circling around needs to be addressed, Geminis, and you know exactly what that is, okay? Now, this eclipse context, this preparation for you, this new moon in Capricorn is going to prepare you for these eclipse shifts that will probably impact your long-term financial arrangements or shared obligations or how trust operates in your life. Because what you clarify now is going to prevent the crises later. Okay? Now, Gemini, your tarot card for Four of Pentacles is the Modern Witch Tarot. Okay? Modern Witch Tarot, Gemini. Four of Pentacles for you, Gemini, Sun, Moon, Rising. I chose this deck because it's ground scattered mental energy into practical habits like budgeting, boundaries, and clarity around time, money, and emotional labor. So, Gemini rising, this Four of Pentacles message for you is: what agreements need clearer boundaries? Where do you need to secure your resources? What conversations have you been postponing? Because when it's in an upright position, you have clear agreements that equates to stability. When it's in the shadow side in reverse, you are avoiding responsibility through distraction. We don't want to do that, Geminis, okay? So I hope you operating in your light energy, upright energy, okay? But basically, this Capricorn new moon is asking you, Gemini, Sun, Moon, Risings, get serious about what you share and what you protect. Clarity now is going to prevent those entanglements later on, and structure is not restriction, it's going to be your security. Okay? Now we can go to Cancer. Cancer, Sun, Moon, Rising. Where you at? Step to the front. Okay? And so this new moon here is going to be impacting, activating in your seventh house and opposing and illuminating your first house. Okay? Interest in Cancer, Sun, Moon, Rising. So, you will experience life through some emotional awareness and some responsiveness, okay? So this is going to activate your relationships and commitments because the seventh house governs partnerships, marriage, and contracts, one-on-one dynamics, agreements, and expectations, okay? And the first house, which is the opposite of that, the entire axis, that is about your identity, your self-presentation, your personal needs, how you show up. Okay, so this lunation is asking you, Cancer, Sun, Moon, Risings, are your relationships supporting who you are becoming or asking you to shrink to maintain harmony? Think about that. Okay, because this moon's emotional ask, emotionally, this moon can bring some heightened sensitivity in partnerships, some awareness of imbalance or emotional labor, the need to redefine boundaries. You may feel pulled between nurturing others and honoring yourself, Cancers, okay? And the moon is your ruling planet or a luminary, so to speak. This is asking you, are you choosing connection out of love or out of fear of being alone? Cancers. Okay. Now, with regards to this degree, Sabian symbol, this is a decision point for you. Okay. Because when you look at the Sabian symbol with the woman reading the tea leaves, Cancers, this is asking you to read the emotional patterns in relationships. Notice what is being shown repeatedly. Okay. Stop ignoring intuitive signals. This degree is not about confrontation, it's about clarity. So something in your relational world has already told you what is. This moon is asking you to acknowledge it honestly. Okay? Acknowledge it. You've already been shown, you know, as of all zodiacs, Cancers are very intuitive. Okay? So acknowledge it honestly. Now, the preparation for you for this eclipse, this new moon is preparing you for shifts that could affect how you partner, what you agree to, and how much emotional responsibility you carry. Because what you define now is going to set the tone for how relationships evolve under this eclipse pressure, Cancers. Okay? Now, your Four of Pentacles, I picked the Light Seers Tarot deck for you. Okay. And do I have it? Okay. Give me a second. There we go. This is for you, Cancer. Light Seers Tarot deck. Okay. This is for you, Cancer. Okay. Cancer, Sun, Moon, Risings. Okay. Four of Pentacles is asking you, where do you need firmer emotional boundaries? What relationships deserve protection? Where are you holding on because you're afraid to feel the loss? okay? Because when it's upright, it's emotional safety through clarity. When it's in the reverse, it's clinging to connections that no longer feel secure, okay? So please don't operate in the shadow side, which is this. Operate in this where you have emotional safety through clarity, okay? Now for you, Cancer, Sun, Moon, Risings, this new moon is asking you to mature your relationships, okay? Not by hardening your heart, but by honoring your needs as much as you honor others. Security begins with self-respect. Cancers, understand that, okay? Now we can transition to Leos. Leo, Sun, Moon, Risings, where you at, okay? For you guys, it will be taken off. This moon will be activating your 6th house, opposing and illuminating your 12th house, okay? So this is about your purpose, vitality. The sun rules you, okay? And so it's your creative self-expression. They're all central to your identity. So this new moon is going to activate your daily systems and your long-term sustainability. The 6th house is where this moon takes off, and that governs daily work and responsibilities, routines and habits, health and wellness, service and productivity, okay, 6th house themes. It's going to be opposing your 12th house, and that's going to be where you need to rest and retreat. That's going to be your area of subconscious patterns, burnout and depletion, spiritual and emotional processing. So this new moon is asking you, Leo, Sun, Moon, Rises, is your daily life supporting your vitality or slowly draining it? Okay? You really need to think about that because you have the energy to stop. Because from the moon's perspective, emotionally, this moon can bring exhaustion or awareness of burnout, pressure to be on all the time, frustration with unsustainable routines. You literally, Leo rising, Sun, Moon rising, you may realize that once worked, you know, you may realize that what you were doing before, what worked before, is not working anymore, okay? It no longer supports you. It's no longer doing what it needs to do. So this moon here is asking you, are you honoring your need for rest as much as your need to perform? Okay, Leos? Okay. Now, with regards to this degree and the Sabian symbol, why this is a turning point for you, okay, this Sabian symbol with the woman reading the tea leaves is asking you, Leo, Sun, Moon, Rising, to read the signals coming from the body, okay? Notice patterns of fatigue or stress. Interpret what your health and your energy levels are communicating to you, because this degree here is saying that your body is speaking. Only thing is, are you listening? Okay. Now, the preparation for you, this is going to be really something because you're involved in this eclipse. This new moon is going to prepare you for this eclipse that could impact how you manage your time and energy, how visible you need to be versus when you need to rest. Not only that, how sustainable your lifestyle truly is. Because if you don't adjust routines now, eclipses is going to force the correction, okay? So, Leos, Sun, Moon, Risings, your card that I picked for you is from the Santa Muerta deck, okay? This is the Four of Pentacles, Santa Muerta deck, working on the house. Four of Pentacles, okay? So basically, I chose this for you because you need to focus on legacy, longevity, and what truly lasts. Protecting one's energy, reputation, and long-term impact rather than performing for validation. Because the Four of Pentacles in this deck is asking you, where do you need to conserve your energy? What daily habits deserve protection? Where are you giving too much just to stay visible? Because when you're in this upright energy, your energy preservation equals power. You're charged up then. If you are in the shadow side of the Four of Pentacles, over identifying with productivity or an image, you're overdoing it, okay? So you really don't need to dim yourself. You just need to pace yourself. Leo, Sun, Moon, Rising. Because the longevity is the goal for you, okay? Now that we got that out of the way, let's segue into Virgo, Sun, Moon, Risings, okay? This is playing out in your 5th house, this new moon in Capricorn, and it's opposing your 11th house as well, okay? So for you, Virgo rising, your chart ruler is Mercury. So discernment, intention, and usefulness kind of guide how you move through life. And the new moon is going to activate your creative expression and your personal joy while simultaneously highlighting your role within groups and collective spaces, okay? So that 5th house governs creativity, pleasure and enjoyment, self-expression, romance, what you create and give life to. The opposing 11th house governs friendships, communities, networks, long-term goals, collective involvement. So this entire lunation, okay, or this lunation for this entire axis here is asking you, are you creating from obligation? Or are you creating from genuine alignment and joy? Okay. Now, this new moon emotional ask of you emotionally, this moon may surface, I would say, a desire to enjoy life more fully, frustration with giving too much to group demands, awareness that your creativity have been deprioritized. You may feel torn between being useful to others and honoring your own joy. Okay, because this moon is asking you, when was the last time you created something because it felt good? Virgo, Sun, Moon, Rising. When was the last time you created something just because it felt good? Okay, now with this degree, the Sabian symbol, this is a course correction for you. Okay, and so with the woman reading the tea leaves, Sabian symbol message for you, Virgo, Sun, Moon, Risings. This is asking you to read the pattern of where joy has been postponed. Notice how often pleasure has been sacrificed for productivity and interpret what that pattern is costing you. Because this degree is saying joy is not a distraction, it's a signal. Hello? Okay? Now, to get prepared for this eclipse, this new moon is preparing you, Virgo, Sun, Moon, Risings, for shifts that will affect your role within communities, or how visible your creativity becomes, or which group dynamic supports or suppresses your self-expression. Because what you choose to nurture creatively is going to determine where you belong later. Okay, so this is a now and later situation. Okay, what you choose to nurture creatively. Okay, now is really going to be where you determine where you belong later. Okay, so nurture creatively now what you choose, because that's going to be what you be focusing on later. Wow. Okay, so the 4 of Pentacles for you, I chose the Everyday Enchanted. Everyday Enchanted, Virgo, Sun, Moon, Risings. Okay, and the 4 of Pentacles is this. It's a lot going on in this card, okay? A lot going on in this card. 4 of Pentacles. So for you, Virgo, Sun, Moon, Rising, I chose this deck for you because to reinforce discipline is needed through daily routines, consistency, and mindful stewardness of energy, helping Virgo protect joy without guilt, okay? So this 4 of Pentacles is asking you, what creative energy deserves protection? Where have you been overgiven to others? What joy needs to be held as sacred? Because when it's in upright, it's to protect your joy through structure. When it's in the shadow side, you're withholding pleasure out of duty or perfectionism. Virgos, y'all know what that feel like. I'm a Virgo Venus and Virgo Moon, okay? So we need to operate in the shadow, the light side of this, okay? Literally. Because this new moon for us Virgo Sun, Moon, Rises is asking you to treat joy as a responsibility, not a reward. Protect what lights you up. Let creativity be sustainable and stop postponing pleasure for perfection. Okay? So now we have that covered. Let's get into Libra. Libra, Sun, Moon, Risings. Where are you? This is activating, this new moon in Capricorn is activating your 4th house. It's going to be opposing your 10th house as well. Okay? Home and for the public. The four walls in your home and out in the public, okay, in them streets, okay. Now, Venus is your ruling planet, Libra, so harmony, balance, and relationship dynamics strongly shape your decisions. This new moon is going to activate your foundation, not just emotionally, but structurally. Now, the fourth house governs home and living situation, family dynamics, emotional security, ancestral patterns. I love every time this happens because anyway, inner foundation. And so the opposing house, 10th house, governs career, public image, reputation, authority, long-term direction. So this lunation for you, Libra, Sun, Moon, Rising, is asking you, is your public life supported by a stable, private foundation? Or are you maintaining appearances at the expense of your peace? I had to answer that very question this week. Okay? That very question, I had to answer that this week. Is your public life supported by a stable private foundation? Or are you maintaining appearances at the expense of your peace? Okay, Libra, Sun, Moon, Risings. This moon here from the emotionally, this moon can surface a need for deeper emotional safety, awareness of imbalance between work and home, fatigue from holding everything together. You may feel pressure to show up professionally while your inner world is asking for containment and rest. So this moon here in Capricorn for you, Libra, Sun, Moon, Risings, is asking you, what do you need at home, emotionally and physically, to feel secure enough to move forward? What do you need at home, emotionally and physically, to feel secure enough to move forward? Okay, now we have the degree, the Sabian symbol. Why this is a foundation reset for you, Libra, Sun, Moon, Rising, with this 28-degree Capricorn moon and this 29-degree Sabian symbol. This Sabian symbol is asking you, Libra, Sun, Moon, Rising. Read the patterns within family and home life. Notice what has been repeated for generations. I'll be damned. And interpret what emotional dynamics are asking to be stabilized or ended. Okay? This degree for you, Libra rising, Sun, Moon, Sun, Moon, risings, okay? You don't need to fix everything. You need to understand what you're standing on. You standing on business or not, okay? You don't need to fix Libra, Sun, Moon, Rising. You need to understand what you're standing on. Anyway, this eclipse, this preparation, this new moon is preparing you for eclipse shifts that could, I would say, affect your public role, your long-term ambitions, and how visible you become. Because if your foundation is unstable, visibility becomes exhausting. Okay? If your foundation is solid, growth becomes sustainable. Libra, Sun, Moon, Risings. Now, what I picked for you is the Astro Matrix Tarot deck. Astro Matrix. And basically, this is the Four of Pentacles from the Astro Matrix Tarot deck. Okay? And so I picked this because, to bring structure, timing, and karmic balance, teaching Libra rising, Libra Sun, Moon rising, how to prioritize self-preservation over people pleasing, okay? And so Four of Pentacles is the message for you under this new moon in Capricorn is, where do you need firmer boundaries at home? What emotional labor are you carrying unnecessarily? And where are you over-compromising to keep the peace? Because when it's upright, there's self-preservation that creates balance, okay? When it's in the shadow side, holding everything together at personal cost. So we don't want to operate like that, Libra, Sun, Moon, Risings. We want to self-preserve, so that creates the balance that we need, okay? So for you, Libra, Sun, Moon, Risings, you definitely want to secure your inner world. That's what this Capricorn new moon is asking of you. Balance doesn't come from pleasing everyone. It comes from knowing where you belong and protecting that space, okay? I'm going to say it again. Libra sun, moon risings, okay? Balance does not come from pleasing everyone. It comes from knowing where you belong and protecting that space where you belong. Fourth house, 10th house, okay? Now, Scorpio, sun, moon, risings, where you at, where you at? This new moon here is activating your third house and opposing your ninth house, okay? So this is going to play out because Mars is your, I would say, your chart ruler, okay, Scorpio? Pluto is known also as the modern ruler. So perception, strategy, and depth is going to guide you through this situation, okay? Through this life here, through life, okay? So this new moon is going to activate your mindset, your communication, and your decision-making processes. That third house governs thinking patterns, communication and conversations, contracts and agreements, siblings and close connections, everyday decisions. The opposite of that is the ninth house that governs belief systems, truth and meaning, higher education, long-term vision, moral and spiritual frameworks. So this new moon in Capricorn is asking you, Scorpio, sun, moon, rising, are your daily thoughts aligned with your deep truth, or are you operating on outdated beliefs? You need to ask yourself that if you have sun, moon, rising in Scorpio, okay? Because this moon's emotional ask, or what you may feel, okay? This moon can surface, I would say, mental pressure or overthinking, frustration around conversations that feel shallow or dishonest, awareness that certain beliefs no longer hold. You may feel compelled to speak up or to reassess what you've been telling yourself, because this Capricorn new moon here for you, Scorpio, sun, moon, rising, and are you communicating from truth or just from conditioning? Okay, the degree, the Sabian symbol, why this is a mental reset for you, because 28 degrees Capricorn, 29 degrees Sabian symbol. This woman reading tea leaves is asking you, read between the lines, notice what's implied but not stated, interpret patterns in communication and information. This degree is warning you, Scorpio, sun, moon, rises, to stop ignoring your intuition in conversation. Stop agreeing without the clarity. And stop staying silent when you know that truth needs voice. Because the message here is clarity is going to be your protection. Okay? Now, I'm going to prepare you for what's coming with regards to this eclipse, because this new moon is going to prepare you for eclipse shifts that could affect your worldview, your belief system, and how you interpret truth. So when you clarify mentally now, okay, that's going to determine how you adapt when your perspectives shift rapidly. Okay? Now, I'm going to go further and keep going, okay? Hoodoo, Scorpio, sun, moon, rising. Hoodoo deck is the deck that I chose for you. This is the Four of Pentacles. Okay, I love the stories that go with these deck archetypes, okay? Now, this Four of Pentacles for you, Scorpio, sun, moon, rising. What knowledge needs to be protected? What conversations require stronger boundaries? Where are you giving access to people who don't deserve your truth? Okay, because when this is upright for you, Scorpio risings, sun, moon, risings, discernment is your power. Okay, when you operating in shadow, Four of Pentacles in reverse, hoarding information out of fear, don't do that. Okay, that's shadow, low vibrational energy. You want to be using your discernment, because that is going to be your power. So Scorpio rising, this Cancer new moon is asking you to discipline your mind. Speak with intention. Listen for what's unsaid. Protect your truth and don't negotiate it, okay? Now, let's get into Sagittarius. Sagittarius, sun, moon, rising. This moon is activating your second house and opposing your eighth house, okay? Now, as a Sagittarius, you are ruled by Jupiter. So growth, expansion, and meaning drive how you move through life. This new moon in Capricorn is going to activate your personal resources and your sense of value, okay? The second house governs income, finances, self-worth, possessions, personal resources, what you rely on to feel secure. The opposing sign, the eighth house, governs shared finances, debts, taxes, and investments, emotional entanglements, power dynamics, dependency, and obligation. So this new moon in Capricorn for you, Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, Rising is asking, what is truly yours to carry? And what are you holding that belongs to someone else? What is truly yours to carry, Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, Rising? And what are you holding that belongs to someone else? Because from the emotional perspective, what you may feel, okay, emotionally, this moon can bring some concern around money or stability, awareness of unequal exchanges, pressure to reassess financial or emotional dependencies. You may feel pulled between freedom and responsibility, Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, Rising. But this moon here is asking you, is your sense of security coming from self-reliance or from avoidance? Okay? Ask yourself that. Now, when we look at the degree, 28-degree Capricorn, 29-degree Capricorn Sabian symbol, okay, this is a culmination degree, okay? This woman reading the tea leaves is asking you, Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, Rising, to read the financial and the energetic patterns in your life. Notice where value has been leaking. Interpret what is sustainable versus what is draining. Because these degrees, these numbers, 28, 29 degrees for you is saying freedom without structure becomes instability. Sagittarius, your preparation for this eclipse, this new moon is preparing you for eclipse shifts that will affect how you earn and spend, or how you share resources, or how power dynamics evolve. Because what you stabilize financially and energetically now is going to determine how flexible you can be later. Okay? Now, your tarot message is from the Orisha deck. This is the Orisha deck. Okay? The Orisha deck, 4 Pentacles here. Go on the top of the mountain, baby. We ain't playing in the Orisha deck. Now, I chose this deck for you, Sagittarius, is because to ground to ground expansive Sagittarius energy through spiritual law, accountability, and respect for what sustains life long term. So this particular 4 Pentacles message for you is, what resources need protection? Where do you need firmer financial boundaries? And how can discipline support your freedom? Your freedom, Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, Rising. Because when it's in the upright, structure sustains expansion. Okay? When it's in the reverse, shadow side, you are avoiding responsibility in the name of freedom. Okay? So really this Capricorn new moon is asking you, Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, Rising, to redefine freedom through stability. When your resources are secure, your options expand. Okay? Discipline is not confinement, it's support. Take advantage of that. Okay. Now, Capricorn, Sun, Moon, Rising, this is your moon. This is your moon, Cappies. Capricorn, Sun, Moon, Rising. Okay. This is activating your first house of self and opposing your seventh house of others. Okay. And so Saturn is your chart ruler. Okay. And so themes of responsibility, maturity, and long-term vision are already familiar terrain for you, Capricorns, okay? Now, this new moon is going to land directly on your arising sign, your ascendant, which is going to make it a personal reset for you, especially if you are Capricorn rising, okay? The first house governs identity, physical body, self-direction, how you initiate life, how others, experience you. The opposite is the seventh house that governs partnerships, contracts, commitments, how others meet you. So this new moon in Capricorn for you, Capricorn rising, sun, moon, and rises, who are you becoming? And who gets access to this new version of you? Okay. Now, what you may feel from this moon emotionally, this moon can bring some heightened self-awareness, some sensitivity around how you are perceived, some pressure to redefine boundaries in relationships. So you may feel the weight of being the strong one and also the need to show up more authentically, okay? This moon here is asking you, Capricorn, Sun, Moon, rises, are you honoring who you are now or who others expect you to be? Okay. Now, with this degree of 28 and new moon coming in at 28 degrees Capricorn and the Sabian symbol of 29 degrees, this is why it's a turning point for you, because this is a closing chapter of a long identity cycle. Okay. This Sabian symbol with the woman reading the tea leaves is asking you, Capricorn, Sun, Moon, rises, is reflect on the person that you've become. Okay. Read the patterns of your past choices. Interpret what your life is showing you about direction, because this degree is saying that you already know what you need to change. You need to just trust that knowing. You already know what you need to change. Trust that knowing, okay? Now, to prepare you for this eclipse, this new moon is preparing you for eclipse shifts that could impact your relationships, your visibility, and how you determine commitment. What you solidify about yourself now determines how others meet you later. That's why I am strongly urging you to speak what it is you need to become or becoming or where you plan to be in 6 months to a year from now. Speak it into existence and be realistic about it. Okay? Now, your tarot card, Capricorn, Sun, Moon, Risings, is we're going just to the regular right away. Okay? Regular right away, what I started off with. Now, I've chose this deck for you because, to reflect the pure archetype of authority, control, I would say conservation and long-term building. No reinterpretation is needed when you're dealing with Capricorn energy, okay? So this Four of Pentacles message for you is, what version of yourself needs protection? Where do you need firmer boundaries with others? What have you outgrown that you are still carrying, Capricorn? Because when it's in the upright, there's self-mastery through containment. When it's in the reverse, you're overindulging with control or rigidity, okay? So we need to operate in the light shadow, the light energy, self-mastery through containment. Because Capricorn, Sun, Moon, rises, this new moon in your sign is asking you to reclaim a authorship over your life. Define yourself, protect your energy. And remember, leadership begins with self-definition, okay? So now that we got Cappies out of the way, let's get into Aquarius, Sun, Moon, rising. This moon will be taking off, activating your 12th house and opposing your 6th house. So your 12th house is where the moon hit. The opposite of that is your 6th house. Now, Saturn is your ruling planet traditionally, and Uranus is your modern planet. Okay, so you carry both structure and disruption within you, Aquarius, Sun, Moon, rising. And this new moon in Capricorn is going to activate your inner world, your subconscious patterns, and some closure cycles, okay? That 12th house, it governs subconscious material, hidden patterns, spiritual processing, solitude and retreat, endings and release. Now, the opposing house is your 6th house, and that governs daily routines, work habits, health and wellness, obligations and service. So this new moon in Capricorn for you, Aquarius, Sun, Moon, rising, is asking you what needs to be released internally so that your daily life can function more cleanly. Okay? Now, what you may feel from the emotional side of this moon, it may bring some fatigue or some withdrawal, some heightened sensitivity, some vivid dreams or some intuitive flashes, or awareness of patterns that you've outgrown. You may feel called to pull back, okay, rest and detach from the noise. Because this new moon in Capricorn here is asking you, Aquarius, Sun, Moon, rising, what are you carrying internally that quietly drains you? What are you carrying internally that is quietly draining you? Now, as far as the degree, 29 degree or 28 degree Capricorn, new moon, and the Sabian symbol of 29 degree Capricorn, this is a closure point for you, Aquarius, Sun, Moon, Rising, a final clearing before a new identity cycle begins. So this Sabian symbol, this woman reading the tea leaves, is asking you to review some unconscious habits, interpret intuitive signals, read what your inner world has been showing you. Because this degree is saying release before you reinvent. Pluto is in Aquarius. It's 11:11. Okay. It's all about transformation, alignment. Okay. Now, let me hurry up and get through this. Now, your preparation, this is critical for you because this eclipse is actually solar eclipse activating in your house. Okay. So this is Aquarius is about to be spotlighted by this eclipse activity. So what you clear now internally is going to determine how grounded you feel when visibility increases, how healthy your routines are under pressure, and how stable your nervous system remains during rapid change. This is the calm before the acceleration. I tell you, Aquarius, Sun, Moon, Rising. This is the eclipse that is going to be taken off in your house, your Aquarius house. If you're a rising sign, your first house, your identity. Okay? Now, your tarot messages from the Comet deck. Okay? This is my Comet deck. Okay? This is the Comet deck. This is the Four of Pentacles for you, Aquarius, Sun, Moon, Rising. Okay, I picked this deck because to anchor future-oriented Aquarius energy into sacred structure, ancestral wisdom, and collective responsibility, okay? This Four of Pentacles message for you, Aquarius, Sun, Moon, Rising, is what inner boundaries need reinforcement? What habits or attachments need to be released? Where do you need containment before expansion? Okay, because when it's in the upright for you, Aquarius, Sun, Moon, Risings, internal stability supports innovation. When it's in the shadow side, reversed, resisting the necessary rest or closure. Aquarius, Sun, Moon, Rising, operating your light, internal stability, okay, that's going to support innovative things for you, okay? Now, I really want to say for you, Aquarius Rising, this Capricorn new moon is preparing internally for what's about to shift externally, okay? So rest, release, stabilize your inner world now because your time to move forward is coming and you'll need a clear foundation to hold it together, okay? So Aquarius rising, that's important as this we're in the window of the eclipse. 6 weeks before, up to a year after, but 6 weeks after, okay? So let's go to the last zodiac sign, then we'll do the closing, and then we'll also do the affirmation, and I'll let us go. So Pisces, Sun, Moon, Rising, this new moon in Capricorn is going to be activating your 11th house and opposing your 5th house, okay? So Neptune, well, let's just say this. Pisces rising, your traditional ruler is Neptune, but your traditional ruler is Jupiter, okay? But your modern ruler is Neptune. So you got compassion, imagination, and sensitivity that guide how you move through life. And this new moon in Capricorn is going to activate your collective role and your future vision, okay? Now, the 11th house governs community and networks, friends and alliances. Friendships and alliances, long-term goals, collective involvement, your role within groups. The opposing 5th house governs creativity, joy and pleasure, romance, self-expression, what you create from the heart. So this new moon in Capricorn is asking you, Pisces, Sun, Moon, Rising, are your dreams being supported by the communities that you're part of or diluted by them? Okay? Again, Pisces, Sun, Moon, Rising, are your dreams being supported by the communities that you are a part of or diluted by them? Okay. Now, what you may feel emotionally, this moon can bring some sensitivity around belonging, awareness of uneven give and take in friendships, tension between personal joy and collective obligation. So you may feel pulled between showing up for others and honoring what lights you up personally. Pisces, Sun, Moon, Rising. This new moon in Capricorn here is asking you, where have you sacrificed joy in order to belong? Okay. Now, when we look at the Sabian symbol, new moon coming in at 28 degrees, Capricorn, Sabian symbol is 29 degrees, Capricorn, putting them together. Looking at that woman reading the tea leaves, Pisces rising. This is asking you, read the patterns within friendships and group dynamics. Notice where intuition has been ignored. Interpret what your emotional responses are telling you about alignment. Because these degrees here, 28 degrees, 29 degrees, belonging should not cost you your authenticity. Okay? Now, preparation for you for this eclipse here, this new moon is going to prepare you for eclipse shifts that will affect your sense of purpose, or how visible your creativity becomes, or which communities you continue investing in. Because what you clarify socially now is going to determine how supported you feel creatively later. Okay, I'm going to say that again. What you, Pisces, Sun, Moon, Rising, what you clarify socially now is going to determine how supported you feel creatively later. Okay, now I chose the last deck, Handle deck, one of my most favorite decks. Okay, I love this deck. Okay, the Handle deck I chose for you because to provide spiritual grounding and emotional containment, this helps Pisces hold stability without losing intuition and compassion. So Pisces, Sun, Moon, Rising, this Four of Pentacles message for you is, which dreams deserve protection? Which communities are worth continued investment? Where do you need firmer energetic boundaries? Because when it's upright, you are protecting your vision with discernment. Okay? When it's in reverse, you're overgiving to groups that drain your spirit. Okay? You choose what you want to deal with, but this new moon is here, is asking you to protect your vision with discernment. Okay? So basically, for you, Pisces, Sun, Moon, Rising, this new moon is asking you to ground your dreams in the right environment. Not everyone gets access to your vision. Not every space deserves your energy either. So you need to choose alignment over attachment and protect what you are building. Okay? And that completes the rising signs for this Capricorn new moon. And remember, everything we discussed today works together. The degree, the Sabian symbol, the numerology, the eclipses, and the Four of Pentacles messages, okay? This is information that is a map. Preparation now creates the stability later, okay? So with that said, I'm going to close it out, okay? If this presentation resonated, I encourage you to revisit it. It will be time-stamped, especially the sections on the degrees, the eclipses, and your rising sign. Because this is the type of information that is going to reveal more each time that you listen to it, okay? I know it's meaty, but hey, I'm going to half step on this energy here. Now, if you like to work with me one-on-one, okay, through astrology, through tarot, through numerology, you can reach me directly through my platforms for booking options, okay? I want to thank you for taking the time to sit with this energy, prepare intentionally, and move forward consciously. And until next time, I need us to stay grounded. We need to stay aware, and we need to protect what matters, okay? And with that said, I'm going to give us a closing affirmation, and I'm out, okay? Under this Capricorn new moon, I choose stability over chaos, clarity over confusion, and intention over impulse. I honor the lessons of what is ending, and I prepare responsibly for what is beginning. I trust what I see. I trust what I feel. I trust the patterns that are revealing themselves to me now, okay? I protect my energy, my resources, and my vision, because what I build from here is meant to last, okay? That's the message. As above, so below, as within, so without, so mote it be, so it is so. Ashe, ashe, and ashe. I thank y'all for spending time with me. Until next time, deuces, love and light. Let me figure out how to end this over here. I don't know how to end this, but I'll figure it out.